Recently, Ellen DeGeneres was a guest on one of my favorite podcasts, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, starring Conan O'Brien. During the interview, Ellen brought up a pretty controversial area of her life, which is her former veganism. She pretty much addressed her decision-making and former veganism head-on in this interview, and I thought it deserved a response. So here we go.
First of all, I wish that, more people were non-judgmental, because I think everybody is. We're getting to be so separate in every single category. Everybody is, going back to like when I came out, and it's worse today. I mean, Pete Buttigieg is being judged by, a lot of the gay community for not being gay enough. And I was, the same thing when I came out, like I was too gay or I wasn't gay enough. And, within whatever group of people you supposedly are a part of or represent, there are people that you're not representing properly. It's like no one's trying to represent anybody.
Maybe for somebody like Ellen DeGeneres or Conan O'Brien, any action they take is going to be criticized by somebody. I can see that being very exhausting and really upsetting. It's very easy when we're part of a group. That could be the gay community, a political party, the vegan community. It can be very easy to let our differences of opinion or our varying perspectives prevent us from acknowledging our similarities and from making forward progress together. It can prevent us from staying productive. However, I see no issue with judging others. If Ellen's actions were helping others and spreading compassion and kindness, I would judge her actions favorably. I would judge her actions as a good thing. If Ellen's actions are causing harm to others or inflicting harm on others, I think those actions also deserve judgment. In this case, negative judgment.
You're supposed to be perfect for them. Like, whatever this group of people is. Because I was vegan for a while and I talked about being vegan. And that was a mistake, because you should never really, because then there was a vegan community that was thrilled that I was their representative, because I was somebody that was very vocal and I've got a platform and I'm talking about being vegan.
So veganism is largely misunderstood. And so to have somebody as public as Ellen DeGeneres speaking openly and using her platform to discuss veganism, that was super exciting.
And even when I was vegan, I wasn't vegan enough, because I wore shoes that had leather on them or I drove a car that had leather in it.
This was a dishonest moment for Ellen. The vegan community was not upset simply because she was wearing leather shoes, although I do think the vegan community would have a right to be upset with Ellen for wearing leather shoes as a self-proclaimed vegan. Ellen DeGeneres owned a business that sold leather shoes. What would the moral difference be between Ellen selling leather shoes for profit and Ellen owning a slaughterhouse for profit? There's no moral difference.
So there's all these groups of people that you just can't be good enough for.
Being vegan is not about trying to satisfy other vegans. It's simply just about trying to minimize your harm. Surely while she was vegan, Ellen would not have eaten a cheeseburger or ordered a plate of chicken wings in between shows. Why is it ethically any different for her to wear leather shoes as a vegan? The leather shoes cause the same amount of harm as the cheeseburger. Both involve stabbing an animal in the throat and mutilating their body for pleasure.
And I just feel like that's why we need everybody to just calm down. You just and be silly and play. And, first of all, it keeps you young. I think being angry and being really serious ages people.
It sounds like Ellen wants the vegan community to calm down and be less angry. I wonder if she would say the same thing to a community of people advocating against human sex trafficking, or racism, or sexism, or homophobia. Why is it that vegans specifically, who are simply advocating we stop abusing animals, need to calm down?
I'm 61 years old and I feel like I'm, so immature in so many ways, and I'm happy with that. Mm-hmm. I'm thrilled to be immature. And I don't want to grow up, and I don't want to, I like getting wiser. I like learning lessons, but I don't want to be serious, and I don't want to take everything so seriously. And so when people get so upset about so many things, and especially with, politics right now.
I think there are lots of issues that deserve to be taken seriously and that shouldn't be taken lightly. And whether that is something like veganism, which is focused on exploitation and abuse, or other issues, be it gun laws or abortion or foreign relations. I do believe these are issues that should be taken seriously. There is a time and a place for silliness and for immaturity and for child's play, even as an adult. I truly believe that. But when it comes to stabbing animals in the throat, it's not the right time.
I'm an extremely sensitive person. Everything affects me to the point if I really let it in, which is one of the reasons I became vegan. I looked at these documentaries and these, footage of inside factory farming and learned about research factories and just everything. And it just, I couldn't sleep at night thinking about all the animals that were being tortured.
Okay. Wow. Most people, when they watch footage of what happens inside of slaughterhouses, don't agree with it. It's violent and it's abusive and it's disgusting. But Ellen, this is exactly where those leather shoes came from. I hope you can understand that there's no difference between taking the flesh from an animal for consumption and taking the flesh from an animal for footwear. They are both needless, unnecessary forms of abuse and exploitation and violence.
And sometimes when you get too deep into something, it just affects you in a way that you just get angry at everybody who's not doing exactly what you're doing. And I just finally got to a point where I can't live like this. I can't, the world is everybody's different and everybody's doing the best that they can. And I'm now doing the best that I can. I've figured out a way that I want to live and the way I want to be.
Ellen's solution to the anger and sadness she was feeling over the plight of animals seems to be to just keep on contributing to it. It would be like feeling angry and frustrated about issues of racial injustice and handling those emotions by becoming more racist. Ellen has acknowledged the atrocities that take place in slaughterhouses and factory farms, but it seems that her solution in handling her anger and frustration is to not be so mature, to maintain her silliness, and in turn to continue contributing to these issues of tremendous injustice.
And I don't judge anybody for what they do anymore. And I hated judging people. I hated being this vegan person that just, because I was educated about something and you're not educated and you don't know what you're doing. And it's like, no, people just learn on their own time.
It's not fair to blame people for harming others when they don't realize they're harming others. However, Ellen has watched slaughterhouse footage and watched undercover footage from factory farms. She made the decision to be vegan based off of that decision and has since decided that to be true to herself, she actually ought to continue contributing to these industries. Ellen, if you discovered that both of your neighbors abuse their dogs every night, would you judge them? I hope you would.
Part of why I feel like it's really important to just not take everything so seriously and look at the way somebody else is living and point fingers and
Nobody's asking you to take everything so seriously. I'm sure that your vegan fans want to see you dance on television, come up with fun segments, and enjoy your life. But certain things deserve to be taken seriously. And when it comes to the torture, abuse, and throat slitting of innocent animals, it deserves to be taken seriously.
We humans have been around. We've been evolving 250,000 years, slowly making our way. And then overnight, the internet showed up. And the internet makes it possible for everybody to be very childish and simplistic about everything and say, this is what I believe in, and it's black and white. And anyone who doesn't fit this on this specific issue, they have a platform to yell at you and be angry. As you said, everyone's triggered by everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's flipping out about every single issue, and so you're not allowed to dabble, try things, make a mistake, if it even is a mistake.
Yeah.
It's not. You're trying things. You're evolving.
As much as I love Conan, this does seem like some sort of an appeal to futility. It seems as if he's saying that because people on the internet get triggered by everything, we ought not get triggered by anything. As I mentioned before, if Ellen got on television and was promoting human sex trafficking or racism or homophobia or inciting violence, we ought to be triggered by these things and we ought to take them seriously. So I have yet to understand why we shouldn't be triggered by the abuse and suffering of billions of innocent animals. Ultimately, I feel really bad for Ellen here. because it's clear that she was experiencing quite a bit of anger and sadness and inner turmoil as she was discovering what it is that we do to animals inside of slaughterhouses on factory farms. And yet somehow, it seems that she's lost her way in that she is willingly contributing to these industries now she is so upset by. I hope that moving forward, Ellen can acknowledge everything she wished she was receiving from the vegan community, compassion and understanding and kindness, and in turn display those towards the animals, the true victims.